This is the GTN Show and welcome. We're back into the swing of things and we've got plenty to bring you.
Yeah, now just because there isn't any racing at the moment, we still have plenty of news, including some that's going to motivate you to train. Caption Comp is back and we have plenty of your photos that we're going to be sharing with you.
And we've got some GTN predictions, but with a difference.
Now, I know we have already covered our race predictions for 2019, but we thought we'd give our GTN predictions a slightly different angle, and we're going to be looking at all things triathlon related, predicting what's going to happen this year, but not purely around race results.
Yes, so our first prediction for 2019 is that Flora Duffy is going to come back with a win. Unfortunately, we didn't see an awful lot of Flora racing in 2018 because she was injured for most of it, and she tried to come back too soon because of her wish to defend the title she'd won in 2017. So now that she's hopefully back to full fitness, we're going to see her focusing completely on Tokyo 2020, and I don't think that means she'll be back until she's absolutely ready to win.
Yeah, and next on our list, a little closer to home, we predict, well, most notably Mark isn't here, then we predict that Mark is going to go out too hard when it comes to competing in the Norseman Triathlon.
And our next prediction is that Laura Philipp will podium at the Ironman World Championships in October. And we're basing this on the fact that when she did her debut Ironman last year in October, she did a pretty quick time.
Yeah, she did. She broke the record, I think. It was like 8:34.
It was, yeah.
8:34. And I mean, anyone competing at kind of the first time, it can be make or break, as you see, like with the conditions, quite extreme. But with such a dominating first performance, we're going to put it out there. We won't know this result until October. We're going to have to wait, but we reckon we'll see Laura Philipp on the podium. Next up, we've got two tech predictions, so delving into the unknown world a little bit here. But we did see a lot of tech inventions and new releases of things last year in 2018, including the Nike Vaporfly 4%. So I reckon Adidas are going to have to come up with something to rival that, so watch this space.
Yeah, and I'm going to opt for the fact that Trek are pretty much the only company now that don't have a disc-ready TT bike on the market, and ironically, they were pretty much the flag bearers as such with TT bikes in 2010 when they launched the Speed concept. It's barely changed since then, so I think we're going to see a new Trek.
And our next prediction, well, more mine and Mark's, and I'm pretty feeling confident on this one. We're not going to have to wait very long for Fraser to big up a Scottish athlete.
And patriotic. Now, our next prediction is that the Ironman bike course record will be broken. It will probably be Camworth.
Okay, well, our next one, which Fraser has said, but I think we're all quite happy to back this one, that Jan Frodeno is going to come back to racing with a bang. He's obviously got a lot of frustration after last season and missing out the World Champs in Kona, and we know that he likes to prove a point, so I think when he does come back, it's going to be similar to Flora. We're going to see him dominating and taking the title whatever race he chooses as his comeback.
Our next prediction is that Lionel Sanders will choose another radical change of diet or position or something.
Yeah, I mean, we saw quite a lot of changes happen in 2018. Some of them not quite so successful as others. I think one of the most memorable ones was the sudden need to lose weight because he realised that maybe, or he thought that if he was lighter from watching the other athletes, that meant he would race faster. Didn't quite work out for him. So, I mean, we hope that he's learned from those mistakes, but still, let's see. I reckon we'll see some sort of crazy change coming from Lionel. But that leads us on, finally, our final prediction, which is one that we are most certainly hoping is going to come true. It's to reach our 200,000 subscriber marker. We've been incredibly grateful to you guys helping us to the 100,000 marker and beyond. And we launched 18 months ago, and 200,000 is now on the horizon. So we look forward to celebrating that one with you when we get there, hopefully quite soon.
And obviously, because I'm here now, surely that'll happen a lot quicker, right?
Yeah, be no time.
We have talked all about our predictions, so we want to ask you to vote which one you think is most likely. Is Mark going to go out too hard at the Norseman? Am I going to be patriotic and big up another Scottish athlete? Probably. And is Lionel going to come up with a new funny training strategy or diet? And finally, another one that you might have come up with.
Yeah, and if you do click other, then make sure you let us know what your prediction is in the comments section below. And to enter that poll, just click on the link above my head.
So now it's time to rewind to, well, way before Christmas when we asked you, does popularity matter in sport?
Yeah, and the answers were pretty clear-cut, to be honest. 84% of you said yes, it did, and just 16% of you said it didn't. So, yeah, clear-cut. Okay, on to the news. And this first one that's caught our eye is Lionel Sanders. Now, we do keep an eye on what he's up to because there's usually something interesting there. And this was back when he was training in Palm Springs, and he actually ventured outdoors to tackle the king of the mountain, the Tramway, which is a fairly famous climb in Palm Springs in Southern California. It's a almost 5K stretch that averages a 9% gradient, so it's pretty tough. Doesn't have that many turns in it, so maybe it's slightly more aimed at those who cycle indoors quite a lot.
But fast forward just 2 weeks later, the week between Christmas and New Year, and there was a full minute taken off of Lionel's time, and that was done by an ex-pro rider called Phil Guyman. Now, he retired in 2016, but he makes an effort to go around the US and capture KOMs that are held by, in his words, often ex-dopers. He doesn't like that, as a lot of us don't. So he makes an effort to go and grab those KOMs and take them back.
Well, he didn't actually, that sounds like we're alluding to the fact that he thinks Lionel's next day, but he doesn't. And his title for his Strava segment, or his attempt, I think, was something like, no beef with Lionel, just can't let a triathlete have the tramway. So I think a triathlete needs to go back and get the tramway.
Now, and sticking with Strava, and for those of us who use it to upload all of our training, and there are plenty of us, because, well, let's face it, if it isn't on Strava, it doesn't happen, right, Heather?
Exactly.
Yeah, well, you might have noticed that they've done a really fun little highlights package of our training for the year.
Yeah, if you log onto your Strava account now, you can find the guest review of 2018 that's personalised to you. And they've made it into a video, a little bit of music, including photos that you've uploaded throughout the year. And they come in at certain stages. It gives you stats of how many hours you've spent, how many metres you've climbed, how much time you spent on your bike, swimming or running. And I must admit that I found it a little bit shocking if you look at those many hours and think, God, how much reading I could have done, or how much educational stuff I could have done with that. But then on the other hand, I also realised I probably should have spent more time on my bike. So it's just quite fun, but it could give you a little bit of a gauge for how last year looked and help you plan your 2019. Well, we have mentioned it before, but the Zwift Triathlon Academy is now open for applications. Last year was its debut season with 4 team members. Well, they've doubled that, looking for 8, and they're hoping to find amateur triathletes that they can help reach their goals at Kona later this year.
Now, at GTN, we followed their debut triathlon team, right from the 4 of them trying to qualify for the World Champs, up to and including their performances at Hawaii. And if you want to see those videos, you can find them in the description below.
Yeah, and they're going to be using the Zwift Triathlon ID platform to try and find these amateur athletes. And they're looking for all ages, all abilities, and a real mix of nationalities. So it really is a global search. And it doesn't matter what level you're at, whether you've already been to Kona and you might be targeting a podium this year, or you've never made it to Kona before. If that does sound too good an opportunity to miss, well, you better get onto Zwift, because you've got to be at a level 12 or above on cycling, level 3 or above on running, and then you can fill in your application.
Now, this is the last bit of Zwift news we promise, and if you are a little bit like us, then you're late to the party because the Tour de Zwift has already begun. The tour is a celebration of all things Zwift and the worlds that are within it. It's 9 stages long, over 5 different courses, and each stage runs for 2 days, and there's a rollout every 2 hours.
Yeah, and it actually started on 3rd and 4th of January with the Jungle Circuit held on the Watopia course, and then the 9th stage will be at the end of the month, 29th, 30th of Jan, with the Park Perimeter course in New York City. Now, there's 3 groups for each of these events, A, B and C. A gives you the longer option, and then C actually is women only. And once you've completed all 9 of these, you get a chance to unlock a special Tour de Zwift jersey, which you can then wear with pride when you do your Zwift training.
And if you are like us and you've not managed to start yet, don't fear, because there are actually some makeup days where you can catch up on February the 2nd and 3rd, so really there's nothing stopping you.
We have previously mentioned the 40 extra shots that Ironman have put up for grabs for athletes to get a slot for Kona 2019. Well, they've just actually selected another 10 for that draw, so if you are one of those lucky 10, you'll now get a chance to accept that entry for 2019.
Yeah, and there are still 20 slots left in the final draw, so as long as you get registered by January the 20th, then you're eligible, so get entered, I'd say.
It's time for the Caption Competition, and you do have to cast your mind back, because it was a show before Christmas when we had this photo from the World Triathlon Series World Championships Relays in Hamburg, and it was a pretty good party going on the podium. We had some great suggestions.
Yeah, and the first one that we're going to talk you through is from Morton, and he said, somewhere there is a German crying, such a waste. Yeah, I know what you mean, Morton.
I like that one, but it was a close runner-up here by Fat Bloke on a Bicycle. The entire podium was guilty of drafting.
Which is good, I do like that one, but I have decided to take Sarah Danielson's as the winner, and she said, just another picture-perfect victory ceremony.
I like it. Yeah. Well, Sarah, get in touch and we will send you a GTN swim cap. And for your chance to win a GTN swim cap, the photo this week is from the Ironman 70.3 Indian Wells, and it's Carrie Lester, I presume, walking or flossing her way to the finish line.
She channeling her inner Tim Don from our...
It does look like it. If you haven't seen that, you do need to check out Tim Don doing the floss. And was it the rainbow as well?
It was. It had an extra edition, he told us.
You have to watch the Christmas show to see Tim Don in a reindeer outfit doing the floss. But anyway, we have digressed. More to this photo. If you've got any great caption suggestions, make sure you leave those in the comments section below.
So now we're going to look at some of the pictures and things that you've sent in through our uploader, which we always like to see. Now this story is one that I really quite like actually, because last week in our New Year's show we had a soft ride that was featured, and it was at the Super Frog 70.3 Southern California, and we then got a comment in from Rory Francis saying that his parents have a beam bike, one being a soft ride, another being a zip, and I just said, well, can you send us in a picture? And well, here he is.
Well, Rory actually wrote in and said, I've ridden my dad's soft ride on the Queen K. Unfortunately, the beam joint collapsed 2 days later in the race and he couldn't finish. Oh gosh.
Shame.
I'll send you a picture of my dad's soft ride and my mum's zip beam. Well, here they are, I guess. Mum's 77 this month and still rides her zip.
I think that's pretty impressive if you ask me.
Yeah, that is very impressive stuff. Well, our next photo here looks a little different, and we've got a Watt bike that has been sent in by Alvin from Birmingham in the UK. No wonder he wants to be indoors.
Well, he's actually got a bit of a story here. He says, after being hit by a car, my bike is awaiting repair, so I've got to spend too many hours on the indoor bike riding this in the gym, but good luck with the rehab and hope it's going okay.
Yeah, and I guess there's like worse gym bikes. If you've got a working Watt bike, I know the gym that I use, the Watt bike is never working, so you're doing well with that one at least.
Yeah, they're pretty good bits of equipment.
Yeah. We are staying indoors for this next one, and surprisingly at this time of year, comes in from David, and it says TTR Columbus in his garage.
Yeah, and he says, it's a project that I did in my garage while being at home with my 1-year-old son, doing work while he had some time between his naps. So I think you've done quite a good job there. It looks like you've got all the sort of things you might need for indoor training.
Yeah, apparently it hadn't been renovated since the 60s, so it's made a good effort with it. I'm interested by the paperwork that's sort of propped in the treadmill. I'm not sure how much reading you're going to do whilst you're running.
Yeah, it does look quite formal, doesn't it?
For the cycle.
But he's got, I mean, I noticed that he had his race wheel sitting on the front, but he's taken the rear one off, which is good thinking. He's got a nice turbo tyre on there, which is good. Fan, flat screen TV. It looks like there might be some gym equipment tucked in the corner there.
Pretty comprehensive, I would say. Well, our final one this week comes in from Hendrik, and it says Rose Pro SL. He's in Berlin, and doesn't say any more other than my neighbours will hate me. So we can only imagine that he's got very thin floorboards.
Yeah, he's in a flat, or I mean, but it's very neat and tidy.
Or he shouts whilst he's when he's suffering on his Zwift or something like that. Who knows?
We don't know, but nice and compact, neat and tidy setup there. So I quite like that.
Well, I like the effort he's gone to make sure he's got the holding screen of GTN on his laptop. I mean, that wins points.
Well noted.
Yeah, very nice.
Thanks for those pictures. We always like looking at them and seeing what sort of stuff you've got for your indoor setup, so please keep sending them in. So it's a new year and we've got a new gear message for you. Now, if you like the hoodies that Heather and I are wearing, or any of the other things that are in the GTN shop, like the cycling kit or all the casual stuff that's in there, then please do head over there and have a look around and see what you can pick up.
Yeah, and hopefully you've enjoyed this. Hit the thumb up like button if you have. And again, one of your New Year's resolutions I would recommend is subscribing to GTN to make sure you get all of our videos. So just hit the globe for that. And if you are still sort of starting off feeling a little bit sluggish in the new year and you want a little bit of a detox with all things triathlon, we've made a video on that just down here.
And if you'd like to see another video where we did about GT Ask anything about triathlon, then you can find that here.